Hello and welcome to your go-to Detroit Pistons podcast, the Pistons Pulse, co-hosted by me, Bryce Simon of Motor City Hoops, a former D1 hooper and current teacher, husband, and father of 3 amazing kids. And Omari Sankofa II is doing his job right now for the Detroit Free Press, taking quotes from JB Bickerstaff the last time I looked on Twitter. So he will not be joining me tonight. I don't think we'll get him even later on, as we'll only go 20-30 minutes here, but did want to bring you some coverage right after this Game 6 loss at LCA. Unfortunate way for the season to end for the Detroit Pistons, but we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it. If you're live here in the chat, thank you so much. Wes is in the background here, and he's going to put star and put whatever he wants me to say up on the screen. It is his show. He is driving the content. So make sure you're listening to Wes and Blake over on the Pin Down on the Detroit Bad Boys YouTube channel, checking out all of their content. Make sure you're checking out the Detroit Free Press, taking in all of Omari's content. And of course, if you got it in you, the Motor City Hoops Substack is free for everyone for written and video breakdowns. Obviously, that's going to slow down a little bit here going into the offseason, but I'll find some content for you guys, including some NBA draft. But we'll talk about that later. Unfortunately, the Pistons' incredible season, and guys, I do think it was an incredible season for this team. We'll be able to talk about it more as we go throughout the offseason and can kind of look back on it. They go down 113-116 to the New York Knicks. A couple comments here to start us off. Chuck Brewer, don't get blinded by that last 4 minutes. These kids have come so far in 1 year. They now go to the lab this summer to work their craft and come back next year stronger. And Sharon Dalton, I'm proud of those guys. I'm not mad at all. I really enjoyed the season, and I'm actually happy because the season looks bright with an exclamation point. I agree with all of that, man. I agree with all of it. I think this was a season that was so much more. This is Mim C313. Got to say, so proud of these guys for getting this far on the heels of a 14-win season. Just the first step on Cade's way to the top. I mean, that is the thing right there. I know people don't love to continue to bring up the 14-win season and all of that, but it matters. It is real context for where this team was last season. So I always keep that in the back of your mind as you're looking at this season, what this team did. I know we have some Knicks fans in the chat. All I ask is that you guys keep it, respectful as you join us here. If you have a real question, put it in there. We'll answer those as well. But this is a Knicks team that is very good, guys. This is a Knicks team that has playoff experience. It's a Knicks team led by clutch player Jalen Brunson. Whether you like the way he plays or not, he is a good basketball player, and they got great play from their 2 wings today in Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. Those guys really showed up. Josh Hart, maybe the box score doesn't show up as much, but he just makes momentum swinging plays, in my opinion. We'll see what that team does next round against the Celtics, but let's talk Detroit Pistons here. And just looking through some box score stuff, I think something that stands out, Cade played 44 minutes tonight. 44 guys in this game, 23 points, 8 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers. I think the stat line that's going to stand out, I think the number that we're all going to talk about this offseason in terms of Cade's growth and development is that 3-point shot. He was 0 of 8 tonight from 3, and I felt like he could have got even more of those attempts if he wanted to. The way the Knicks were guarding when they bring Brunson into the action. And I broke all of this down going into Game 6. After Game 5, I did a Pistons offensive breakdown showing when they ran traditional pick and rolls, what was working, what wasn't. When they brought Brunson into the action, defending the pick and roll, what was there, what wasn't. And one thing that was there was the Cade pull-up 3. And it just got even more open as he missed shots. And Anunoby didn't respect it, was almost daring him to take it. And he just couldn't get it going really throughout the series. I'll ask Wes if he can look up when he gets a chance Cade's overall 3-point numbers for all 6 games, even if he just gives me the numbers, doesn't have to have the percentage. I know it was like 25% coming into the game. I believe that's roughly what it was. And that's just a growth area for Cade. It was something his first few seasons in the league, and it got better in the regular season. but it wasn't there tonight. It wasn't for Cade tonight. Jalen Duren with a 21 point performance in this game 6, only 6 rebounds, which is a weird stat for JD in terms of playing almost 40 minutes. But really scored the basketball well, knocked down his free throws. I know he missed one late in the game. And then Asar Thompson, we will talk about. I know you guys want to talk about that one as well. I thought it was another slow start to the game tonight for the Pistons. We saw that in all 3 games for the Pistons at LCA. I also thought they were getting beat in transition, so that was interesting to me. First 6 minutes of the game, I thought New York wasn't necessarily playing like at a crazy fast pace, but they were playing aggressive in transition after misses, after makes, even after a dead ball. I believe they got some sort of offensive action, and it just wasn't very connected there defensively, and then offensively as well. I thought there was too many off-target passes early in the game. The velocity was off at times, and guys just weren't securing those catches and some of those offensive rebounds. They only ended up, I guess it wasn't only, they ended up with 15 turnovers. At one point, I thought they were in a decent place with the turnovers, and it just didn't end up that way. Yes, James. Yes, turnovers is a thing for Cade as well, but I thought in this game specifically, and right now I am talking about game 6, I thought the lack of three-point shooting was a way bigger issue for Cade than the turnovers. Listen, guys, like if you're coming here for I saw someone, hopefully they were just trolling or joking about the Cade trade talks. I mean, come on. He's going to be all NBA. He still put up ridiculous numbers in this game, and he plays defense. So I'm not about to take this game and be like, oh, should we worry about Cade being a number 1 option or something like that? That's not something you're going to hear from me. So Cade, 25% from 3 in the playoffs, 5 of 28. He also rested 42 total minutes out of 288. So you talk about a guy who early in his career had injury concerns, a guy who people were worried about some of that stuff, and he played a ton of minutes in this series. He scored, I believe, over 20. I think this was his lowest scoring. No, game 1 at 21. Yeah, he ended up averaging 25 in this series. Over 8 rebounds, almost 9 assists. The turnovers, of course, big picture, are an issue. Ended up with 5 even. That 3-point percentage ends up at 18%. I mean, that's rough. That's truly rough for Cade right there. 0 of 8 tonight. In the final 3 games of the series, Cade goes 1 of 15 from 3. So it's an area of growth. You know what, though, Wes? I think those 2 stats play hand in hand. I think the minutes played and the lack of rest and the 3-point shooting, I think that plays hand in hand. Let me know if you agree in the private chat. And because we've seen him miss short when he doesn't always have his legs in and underneath him, that can be a thing with Cade. The one thing this team does, though, guys, yeah, Harry, great point. Over 3 stocks in the series. Ended up at 3.1. He had a block and 3 steals tonight, including a ridiculous stretch in the fourth quarter where, let me find it here, Pistons were up 2 with 5 left in the game. Yeah, so this was after Asar subbed out, which we will talk about in a little bit. Cade had a low man rotation block. Defensively, misses the floater on the other end, and then Brunson got it in transition, and Cade had another at least contest of that attempt from Brunson in transition. So just incredible job by Cade on the defensive end. I thought he had some really good on-ball possessions, which we have seen. I think his off-ball defense still has some work to do, which we saw tonight as well. He missed some defensive rebounding opportunities, but Wes says he absolutely agrees with the minutes played in the three-point shooting and only 3 turnovers tonight from Cade as well. As we continue to just look through some of my overall notes here, I thought there was a big sequence to end the first half from the Pistons. They had got down. They got within 4, 2:15 to go in the half. Could they keep the Knicks from extending it back before halftime? And they didn't. They made a run here. McBride misses a shot. Harris had a huge mid-range jumper plus a foul. Schroeder played strong. Yeah, a tough stop between Brunson and Harris, Schroeder and Harris on Brunson, forcing a turnover. Cade had a bump and floater on Anunoby. They got another stop on Brunson. Nice play by Duren on that one. And then, of course, eventually led to the Beasley three-point make. Pistons up 2 at halftime. And then down 7, 4 minutes into the third quarter, New York really went on a run there. JB went small in the third quarter, didn't last very long. And then listen, guys, I thought they were out of energy 3 minutes to go in the fourth. I've tried not to doubt this team late in the series and in the season, but I wasn't sure they had another run left in them, and they absolutely did. I put in my notes here, how dare I even ask the question if this team had a response in them. The JB challenge, Wes, I'd like to get your thoughts. I didn't love the process of the JB challenge. I didn't know that the reward was worth the risk in that situation. Brunson wasn't going to the free throw line. It was only the second team foul, and they weren't going to get imminent possession. It went to a jump ball. And so I didn't love the process, but they did end up winning the challenge, which allowed JB to challenge one later that was not overturned. Also, Duren is sneaky not good on jump ball situations. I think that was twice in this series where he just tipped one out of bounds, which was, I don't know what the right word for it is. I guess frustrating, but like he got his hand on that ball and he wasn't able to like get it to Cade. I think there was 2 Pistons. I think everybody had kind of lined up traditionally for that one, and he wasn't able to get it to anywhere. So, I think he's only won 2 jump balls total versus Cat. That's the napkin math from Wes. And Wes brings up, you know who the turnover issues were tonight was Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. 8 turnovers between those guys. And like, that's tough, man. That's tough getting 8 turnovers from those two. Obviously the final play from Beasley. Let's continue on like down the end of this game. Josh Hart Pistons go up 2 with 5:11 in the game. Josh Hart with a beautiful off-ball cut ties it up. Again, I mentioned this. I think Josh Hart just makes winning plays and momentum plays for the Knicks. And then the Knicks did something that I said I thought they should do coming into the series, and I was wrong. It was not the right strategy in games 5 and 6. They continued to put 2 on Cade. And as much as I said they should have stopped. And Duren almost rolled too deep. This is the one where Hart almost steals the pass, but Duren ends up coming up with it, gets a bucket. And then we have a scrambled possession. Asar ends up with a steal and a layup. Brunson missed the 3-point attempt. Cat fouls on the offensive rebound. And then comes in the Asar sub. So I would like to talk about this for just a second. And so Brandon Ingle, need to hear JB's thinking behind taking Asar out in the fourth. Avery Whiteside, how do you take Asar out with the game on the line? Chuck brings up, these are all of those. So Christian as well. Let's go to Chuck last. My bad, Wes. Me and Wes are fighting over. I didn't realize they were all the same thing. Christian J, no idea why JB thought it was a good idea to take Asar out of the game when he was consistently locking down Brunson. We did take the 3 seed to 6 games, though, and earn the league's respect. And then Chuck said, Asar was on his inhaler in the fourth. I did not personally see this, so I will take Chuck's word for it that he saw that. I really wonder if it was a JB call or he played him as much as Asar was able to go. This would be fascinating. Chuck, I think this is truly the crux of the conversation. Could Asar have played more minutes? So what I loved about Game 5, I thought JB did a tremendous job with what he did with Asar. He wasn't going to be able to play him 40 minutes to match all of Jalen Brunson's minutes, right? Like Jalen Brunson played another 42 tonight. We all know Asar's not going to do that. I looked it up. He's played 40 plus minutes one time in his entire career. It was his rookie season. But what JB did in Game 5 was he started him halves, obviously, and then took him out after 7, 8, 6, 8 minutes, meaning Brunson got the rest of those quarters to play against Schroeder, Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., etc. And then he kept Asar on the bench to start the second and fourth quarters until Brunson re-entered the game. So then Asar could match all of those minutes the rest of the way. I love that strategy when you know that he can't match all of the minutes. Tonight, he almost did the inverse. In the first half, Asar played 6 minutes of the first quarter, sat, and then JB brought him back to start the second quarter when Brunson was actually out of the game for a little while. And then Asar only played like 4 minutes and then subbed out. So Brunson got the rest of the second quarter to play without Asar on the court. Now, I would like to make note, because I've had people throw Asar's plus minus at me, and trust, I'm not trying to make this argument, but for what it's worth, Asar's plus minus was not good in this game at halftime or even the game as a whole. Now, again, friends don't let friends use single game plus minus, as Wes reminds us all the time, but just referencing that right there. Then in the second half, I was surprised Asar wasn't able to go the whole final stretch of the fourth quarter. And I would like to know, like, listen, I'm not going to sit here and call JB out on like big picture things. I think it's okay to nitpick things, and this would be a thing I would nitpick. I will say that initially those minutes were okay with Asar out. The Pistons actually initially extended the lead because Cade's defense and Brunson misses, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. hit a mid-range jumper. But as soon as that thing got to 7 and Brunson started to attack, had the tough bucket plus the foul that was challenged, didn't get overturned. And then out of that, they got an after timeout action, right? Because they challenged the call. You got to call a timeout. Detroit, this is where Cade, he had 2 opportunities on that single possession to take 3-point attempts, and he turned down both. But here's what I'll say about getting Asar back in the game. There was 0.9 on the shot clock because somebody missed a shot, and then they didn't miss a shot. Something happened. It went out of bounds, 0.9. I would have subbed Asar in right there. 0.9 on the shot clock, baseline out of bounds. Why can't he be in the game for offense right there? And then you're going to go play a defensive possession right away. That's when I thought JB should have got Asar in the game, and he didn't. And the possession that ensued from that was the one where Brunson took Schroeder to the baseline, almost lost his balance, and then got the tough finish on the other side of the basket. Then they went down, and he did sub Asar back in after that. And, great possession. So what happens after that? Team offensive rebound off a Cade miss. Asar subs in. That was the cat steal of the baseline out of bounds. Chili, I'm getting there. Trust me. I am getting to your comment. Wes can leave it up for now. Duran chases him down, fouls him, misses the second. But here's the thing. What does Detroit do? They miss the offensive rebound on the free throw checkout. I thought Cade was a little slow getting in front of Cat, and it did come off hard from the rim. But Asar forces the shot clock violation on Brunson. Pistons come down, traditional pick and roll. Cat can't execute drop coverage. Duran gets to the free throw line, goes 1 for 2. Okay, Chili, here's where we go. It is a 2-point game right now. After timeout, the Pistons shut down the initial action. Brunson getting switched, the Schroeder switched onto him, misses a mid-range jumper. Bridges gets the offensive rebound. Asar Thompson had switched on to Mikal Bridges and misses said box out. Now, listen, guys missed box outs all game long. I have 2 in my notes that Cade Cunningham missed throughout the game. A bunch of guys did, but Asar did miss that one in that situation. Cade misses a left-hand layup, and Brunson dribble move, 3-pointer, playing in isolation against Asar, and then obviously the Beasley drop pass, whatever. I mean, it looked like a decent action from the Pistons to get to that, but it just it wasn't there. So Ant Clutch with 35. This is another really good point. Wes, I want to get your thoughts on this one as well. 35 seconds left in a tied game. So this is after the Bridges putback offensive rebound. I'm trying to think, was there a timeout or not? I don't think there was. But they should have went 2 for 1, but instead Cade slows it down and they miss a shot with 20 seconds. That was game. I actually had the same thought. You don't want to just force up like an end of the first quarter 2 for 1 where you shoot a 30-footer, but it would have been really nice right there for somebody on the floor to recognize the situation. And I assume they have quick hitter action that they could have got a shot in the first 8 seconds or so of the shot clock and got that 2-1. Maybe it's too tight of a window. I don't know, but I had the same thoughts in that situation for them to go for that. Wes says as well, I wanted 2 for 1. He said Cade had a 3 and turned it down, didn't he? I don't remember specifically on that one with Cade, but yeah, I mean, he had a good layup, or ended up with a decent look with the left-hand layup in that situation, and it just didn't go for him. He blew it off the other side of the backboard in that one. So that's kind of the rundown of the game as a whole, in my opinion, and some of the individual players throughout that. I thought we didn't get as much of the ball screen stuff where they hit Dern in the short roll and then to Asar on the baseline. Like, that stuff wasn't there as much. The Knicks, to their credit, I mentioned earlier, they did still go 2 on the ball with Cade quite a bit, but not nearly as much as what we saw in Game 5. They switched it up, different times throughout the game, and sometimes they were just playing straight drop coverage as well. So, guys, that's kind of my thoughts on the game right now. We don't have to go 30 minutes here. If you guys have any thoughts, questions, anything like that, throw them in the chat right now. Wes will star them as we're going through this. And if not, we'll close this thing out here after not much longer. But I would love to take any questions or comments okay, Derek, thank you so much. We will definitely get to this one. So super chat from Derek Brown. Thank you so much, Derek. We really, really appreciate this. Thank you. So Derek Brown says, shout out to Bryce, O2, and Wes. Great dudes and easy guys to root for in life. Can't wait for the off-season content. Most exciting Pistons season in the last 17 years. Thank you. Thank you so much. Here's the thing. The Pistons Pulse doesn't exist without you guys. Like, truly. I mean, who am I talking to right now if there's not how many ever tuning in on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, listening to the podcast. I love the free press, but if we weren't doing numbers, they probably wouldn't continue to produce the podcast. So whether you're listening on Apple, whether you're listening on Spotify, anything like that, you're supporting the Pistons Pulse, you're supporting our content, and you're making this possible. A little reflection here. I started doing this. This is my 5th full season of doing this. Started out as Motor City Hoops. We'd get 100 views an episode for the first year or so. And eventually the person that started it left, didn't know what I was going to do, brought Wes on. Wes has been with me ever since. Couldn't do it without him, of course. Eventually, teamed up with Omari in the free press. We got our guy Robin Chan here as well, listening behind the scenes. He's our audio guy, and he takes care of everything for us as well. He's up at 11 o'clock here on a Thursday night, making sure this thing gets out early on Friday. And it's been a fun ride. It's been amazing. And sometimes it's a little bit surreal. I tell Wes, we used to do shows for 100 people, and now we might have 100 people live watching us right now, and we'll get thousands of views and watches and the comments that people send. And we're getting people like Derek, who have been with us for, the whole ride, giving us super chats, paying us money because he appreciates our content and what we do. So it doesn't matter if you guys don't listen to it. So thank you so much. Case, we'll get to a few more. So again, if you guys haven't, I will stay as long as Wes has something starred in the chat. Once we're out of that, we will probably shut it down, and then we'll be back sometime early next week, kind of breaking down the whole season, the series. And then it's time to look at the off season. Unfortunately, Diego, much love from Spain. That's the other cool thing. Across the entire world, we have listeners and viewers and people that support us. So thank you so much. I was telling my students today, I'm a words of affirmation. This is my love language. If you don't know your love language, you should know it because it's important, especially when you get married. Wes, hopefully you and Jill have figured that out. It'd be good for your guys' marriage. So, not just a lawn guy, marriage counselor as well. But, so this stuff really, it means a lot to me, especially whenever I see those things from all of you. Cade was rolling into a clean look on the last shot. I think he caught Beasley off guard. You know what's funny, Case? My wife said the exact same thing. Now, my wife has watched about 7 seconds of Pistons basketball. That's not true. She's watched, how many times did they play Jimmy Butler this year? How many every times they played Jimmy Butler? She's watched that many games plus 7 seconds of tonight's game. But she said the same thing. She goes, I don't think he was expecting it. I think he thought the other guy was going to shoot it. And so it's an interesting point by you. Cade had the better 3 look. Bees would have been forced to beat the clock. Interesting. I'll have to go back and rewatch. I thought it was actually a good decision by Cade. I thought Beasley was going to get a decent look, but I didn't rewatch it, to be honest with you. I haven't gone back and because I'm taking notes and tweeting and texting and stuff, sometimes I do miss some of the case, says smart lady. Hopefully she can't hear that right now. Sometimes she can hear me whenever I'm recording. So, but yes, no, she is a smart lady. She was a Hooper case, so she knows what she's talking about. Wes and I both. Jill came in, his wife, and dropped a nice comment the other day as well. So, Mel 75 from O2, our guy Omari Beasley. AT was pissed. He is the best defender in the world. He feels like he should have got a stop. I'm the best shooter in the world. I feel like I should have hit a shot. Yeah, I mean, listen, Asar is fine. Asar is going to be tremendous for this team and this organization. We saw it. It was data collection. I don't want to get too much into my data collection yet because I think that's kind of what the offseason content is for until we truly get into free agency and the draft and stuff. But we got 6 games and a lot of minutes of Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren. And listen, I know that, Ron Holland didn't play tonight, and I think it's important to at least mention that. I probably wouldn't have played Ron Holland tonight after he had played in games 4 and 5. I don't blame JB for that. But I think we got enough to have a little bit of feel for where the growth is. I think it's important to know then we see what these players are, and then now it's up to the organization to know, okay, here were their flaws or the things that showed up. How much can they improve those? How much can we help them improve those? How much are they willing to improve those? I have no reason to believe that any of these guys won't work on all of those aspects of their game, but this is a great point, Mel. I saw Koo bring this up the other day. A real full offseason to development for Asar Thompson. He didn't get that last offseason. I don't know what he was allowed to do during the offseason, but we know he was dealing with the blood clot. And it obviously was throughout the whole offseason because he didn't start the regular season playing games. So it was something that I would imagine really limited his overall work this past offseason, and now he gets it. So, here's where I feel bad for Pistons fans is they didn't get him one at LCA. Like that's my only, if I have a negative really from this season as a whole, if I have 2 real downers for me, it's Jaden Ivey getting hurt and we didn't get a chance to see him play down the stretch and in this series. That's a real downer for me. And that Detroit wasn't able to land the fans at LCA a home win in the playoffs. Them going and getting 2 at Madison Square Garden is insanely impressive. Them playing this Knicks team to 6 games and as tight as every game was. I saw a stat today that it was the first time 3 straight games in a series had gone to the last possession since like the 90s or something. Definitely don't quote me on that one, guys. It was one I saw. I should have written it down and I didn't. But this would be 4 in a row if that stat is true. So, I mean, they gave them everything they wanted in this series. And that's with Brunson heroics, Anunoby two-way play, Josh Hart making momentum plays. I mean, I think the only thing you could say is Cat had a few bad games. I think Detroit had something to do with that. And the Knicks bench gave them nothing. But James, man, I love this so much. James, I'm not going to answer it, Wes. I'm not going to answer it. But James, I appreciate you so much. What position do Pistons target with early 2nd round pick? We will save it. Part of why we're going to save it too is this draft is real weird because the NIL space has really changed the draft. And specifically this year because the NIL money is so out of control. So, we will get to it, though. I promise you, I have my big board ready. I have names ready, just not tonight. So, again, those would be my 2 downers. But to leave on a high note here, Guys, this team won 14 games last season. 14. And people were questioning Cade Cunningham, rightfully so or not. I don't think rightfully so, but lots of people were. ESPN was. They fired their coach. They essentially fired their GM. They brought in they went out and signed vets. Even some people question, like, should you give Tobias Harris the money they gave him? Is Malik Beasley worth it? Tim Hardaway Jr. for Quentin Grimes? Like, actually, that's something we can probably debate we'll see what the contract Grimes gets. But Case says, thanks, brother. Great season in pod. Thank you so much. We appreciate the support. And this team came out and they exceeded all expectations. Incredible. JB, for whatever faults he may or may not have in the playoffs, he completely changed the culture in one season. And that's always my pushback to people who say, well, he shouldn't win Coach of the Year because it only looked so good because Monty was so bad. If Monty was so bad, think about how we left this organization when he left. And that's what JB had to pick up and take. With a bunch of young guys playing real minutes, Ron Holland played 81 games this year. Ron Holland, one of the youngest players in the NBA, Asar, Jaden Ivey injury, Cade Cunningham turns into a star, all NBA player. Malik has a career year from 3. It was just, Chuck says our ceiling was, sorry, go ahead, Wes. Chuck says our ceiling was 35 wins and push for a play-in, and they just took the New York Knicks to 6 in the first round of the playoffs, avoiding the play-in altogether. I just hope everybody, I know it stings right now. I'm sure even people listening on Friday that maybe were at the game and are disappointed. Like, I'm sure you're disappointed, but I just hope we can eventually all reflect and realize how far this team came this year, the culture that JB changed, what having a face of the franchise and Cade Cunningham means moving forward, along with everything else. And so far, Trajan Langdon's process has been pretty dang good in general. I'm not saying everything he's done has been perfect. We can look at a few different moves, but in general, the process he had coming into this season worked out pretty darn well. So I think Pistons fans can feel good about that. I think they can be excited about it and really excited about the offseason and the future. And I'm sure we'll talk about it all off season long, what those moves should be and what the next step is to make sure there's not a step back, because what comes with 40 plus wins and a first round that just went like they did is expectations, right? Real expectations. For the first time, I think real expectations and justified expectations for this team will come in 25-26. And they got to make the right moves, whether that's status quo or otherwise. This offseason, we'll break it down. We'll be here for you all offseason doing just that. But again, thank you to all of you for your support. Thank you for tuning in here live, your engagement in the chat. If you're listening after the fact, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, share, all of those things. Listen to Wes on the Pin Down on the Detroit Bad Boys YouTube channel. Please go over, listen to him. Read Omari on the Detroit Free Press. And yeah, shout out our guys over at Knicks Film School. Appreciate it. Respect to you guys so much. Much respect to the Knicks Film School over there. And the Motor City Hoops Substack, again, should have content all off season. Maybe break down some of those second round potential players and let you guys know about that as well over on the Substack. But continue to stay locked in. We'll keep bringing you content. Otherwise, we'll talk soon.